You're now watching Q News, and here are the top stories for this hour. US President Donald Trump has said that nobody is expelling any Palestinians from Gaza. Trump has resumed his close alliance with Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu since taking office in January, and he has previously said that all Palestinians should be removed from Gaza, at least temporarily, following a peace deal. Speaking alongside Trump, Irish Prime Minister Michael Martin said aid needed to be surged into Gaza, while also calling for a ceasefire and releasing detainees. Israeli occupation forces have launched multiple raids across the West Bank, targeting various areas. Israeli troops bombed the Aqabat Jabir and Ain Sultan refugee camps in Jericho, as well as the cities of Qalqilia and Al-Khalil. In central West Bank, occupation forces also raided several towns in Ramallah with no reported injuries or arrests. Palestinian sources reported that on Wednesday, Israeli forces demolished a home in Qalqilia and arrested 30 Palestinians in raids across different West Bank areas. Hamas has announced that the continued power cuts in Gaza for over 16 months, followed by the recent disconnection of the electricity line supplying the Deir al-Balah water desalination plant, constitute a war crime threatening a potential water crisis. Hamas condemned the use of water and food as weapons against civilians, accusing Netanyahu's government of committing collective punishment. They called for immediate international action to stop these violations and hold Israeli leaders accountable. The Syrian presidency has announced the formation of a National Security Council chaired by interim President Ahmed al-Shara to coordinate the country's security and political strategies. According to a presidential statement, the council will include the ministers of foreign affairs, defense and interior, along with the director of general intelligence, 2 advisory members appointed based on expertise and a specialized technical seat. Meetings will be held regularly or at the president's request, with decisions made in consultation among members. The council's structure and operations will align with national interests and directives from the presidency. The decision is effective immediately and has been communicated to Syrian state media has reported that a group attempted to attack a military barrack in Latakia's countryside but was repelled by security forces who captured 4 assailants. Syrian President Ahmed al-Shara condemned mass killings targeting the Alawite community, warning they threaten national unity and vowing to hold all perpetrators accountable, including allies if necessary. Recent clashes in Syria's coastal towns have resulted in hundreds of deaths. In response, the presidency announced the formation of peace and engaged with communities in western Syria. Canada has announced new measures to support Syria with humanitarian aid and promote a peaceful, inclusive future. Canadian ministers Mélanie Joly and Ahmed Hussein condemned the recent violence in Tartus, Latakia and Homs, urging civilian protection. Hussein announced $84 million in aid, bringing Canada's 2024 support for Syria to over $100 million. Israeli troops have been seen along the border with Lebanon, a day after Israel said it had agreed to hold talks to demarcate the border. A statement by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office said Israel had agreed with Lebanon, the US and France to establish working groups to discuss the demarcation line between the 2 countries. Israel also said it would release 5 Lebanese held by the Israeli occupation military in what it called a gesture to the Lebanese president. Russian President Vladimir Putin has visited the western Russian region of Kursk in the first time since Ukrainian forces seized some territory in the region. Putin heard a report from Valery Gerasimov, head of the Russian General Staff, who told him that Ukrainian troops in the Kursk region were now surrounded. Putin also said that Russian forces should completely liberate the region from the Ukrainian troops as soon as possible. U.S. President Donald Trump has said that U.S. officials were heading to Russia to discuss a U.S.-Ukraine agreement on a proposed 30-day pause in fighting and a pathway to peace talks. Trump said it was now up to Russia after Ukraine agreed to a ceasefire following more than 8 hours of talks with U.S. officials in Saudi Arabia. When asked if he would take any action to pressure Russia, Trump said he could impose financial measures, which would be very bad for Russia. However, he added that he doesn't want to do that because he wants peace. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has hailed a meeting between the U.S. and Ukraine this week aimed at ending the conflict and said a proposed ceasefire could be used to draft a broader peace deal. Zelensky added that the Jeddah meeting had helped de-escalate tensions between the U.S. and Ukraine after a White House clash between him and President Donald Trump last month. The United States said it was resuming military aid and intelligence sharing with Ukraine after U.S. and Ukrainian officials agreed in Saudi Arabia on a 30-day ceasefire with Russia. This concludes our top stories for this hour, but stay tuned for more coming up here on Q News. Thank you for watching.